Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of College Sucks. Oh my gosh, I'm your host, Davis Samantha Davidson, a student affairs professional who has been in college most of her life. I keep saying all my life. It feels that way because I've been in college since I was 17 years old, and then I worked in one, and then I went back to college, and then I worked in one, and then you know, that's it. So that's why I keep saying that. And that, oh my gosh, is I can't believe I'm on episode 6. Yes, I have been consistently recording material because I have something to say and I'm creating and I'm putting it out there. So I'm very happy for myself and I'm hoping that anyone who's listening is finding this, whatever I'm sharing, to be useful. All right, today I want to talk about the holidays. So we're in the month of December, and everyone knows what December brings. It's the silly season. It's the month of Christmas. If you are a Christian, I can't remember what other, I know Kwanzaa is something that's practiced as well. I think Hanukkah might be somewhere in there. I'm sorry, my Jewish friends, don't get mad at me. So it's just the holiday season, really. Whether you are into Christianity, yes or no, it's Christmas, and the semester is going to go on break because whether you're somewhere warm or somewhere cold, everybody's tired. Exams are happening; they're about to end, and you have to go home. And that's kind of what I want to talk about this week. What happens when the holiday comes and you have to go home and home isn't a safe place for you, or you can't go home, meaning you have nowhere to go. Like, you are probably a ward of the state and college is a full-time home for you, or you are overseas and it would be too expensive for you to go home, or it's just in general not safe. So I'm taking this episode from two perspectives where you can physically go home, but it may not be the best environment for you. You're not happy to be doing that, or you are unable to go home, and all the feelings that that might bring for the holidays. So I'm big on always just saying what some of the issues are that you might have. So your house might be a crowded space, and you're in college where you might have just one other roommate, or if you're fortunate you have your own room. And so there's a kind of anxiety and discomfort that comes with the idea of having to be back in an environment where you are clustered or sharing, or you don't have any privacy. You may not be having a good relationship with your parents or your spouse, and you kind of have to go home because that's the expectation. In Jamaica, I know a lot of the colleges do not offer housing for students during the break because it's a chance for everybody to go on holiday. And if you're going to remain on campus, some staff have to remain with you. And, everybody's stressed out, everybody's had enough, they want to go home. So it's highly unlikely that you're going to find staff that's willing to give up their holidays just to accommodate you. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I know that in a lot of spaces, the campus is closed to students during the Christmas holidays. So let's start by acknowledging what's happening. I personally, I'm not a big fan of Christmas. Anybody who knows me knows I'm big on my birthday. I'm not big on Christmas. My thing is, it's just a lot. It's a lot of traffic. It's a lot of spending. It's just this whole, I don't know how to describe it, but it just felt like a lot of effort for something that was going to last one day or 2 days, Christmas and Boxing Day. And it just felt like a lot for me. I personally, it's neither here nor there for me. And I've spent a lot of my Christmases trying not to stay home. Even as an adult, I love to be overseas in somebody else's home where they have to be responsible for feeding me, or we go out, just other stuff. Because when I'm home, I'm the primary person who has to be responsible for the home when it's Christmas. I have to do Christmas dinner and people come over and I have all that cooking to do and all that cleaning up to do. So I personally am not the biggest fan of Christmas, even though I do enjoy the 2 weeks holidays that I will be getting. Although I'm not sure it's much of a holiday because we have grades to submit. So, some people still have work to do during the holidays, and it can be a little bit difficult for you to have to deal with what it brings. So let me just be upfront and say, if you're not very pro Christmas, you have somebody who's in the same corner with you. I'm not big on Christmas either. All right, but let's start talking about the reality of the situation. Holidays can be kind of complicated for you. As a college student, you've just come out of exams, you're exhausted. Some of you may be feeling anxiety about what has happened in the exams, not really sure if you're successful, yes or no. And then some of you will also be having to think about the next semester and what it brings. So if you're at a teacher training institution and you're in your third year, you have to think about that in January, you'll be going on teaching practice, and there's a lot of anxiety that will be coming with that. And if you are a fourth year student, you have to think that you are coming off teaching practice and you will be expected to be back in a classroom learning, which is a completely different situation than you had the semester before. So there are two things that would be possibly weighing on your mind. If you're an athlete, I know the netball competition has ended, so that's finished, but football will be traveling over into the second semester, so you still have that to do. And then track season starts. So if you weren't already balancing training and your academic work, this time your training needs to equal results, because there will be a bunch of meets and there's going to be a big meet that you have to be preparing for mentally. So there's a lot that you're already anticipating for the next year while thinking about what's happening now. In December, when you have to think about going home. So even though the holiday is expected to be a time of joy and relaxation and, getting to see your family and your friends, hang out more with your spouse, go to parties, you still have some persons who have a lot of challenges with thinking about going home, and it can stir up a lot of difficult emotions for them. And like I said before, it could be because of toxic home environments, strained relationships, or just the place no longer feels like home for you. Now, a lot of times when you're in college, you go through a change. Your family notices that, your spouse or partner notices that you're changing, you're evolving, you're looking at things differently. If you go to college and it's not changing you, I don't think you've really gone, because there's an evolution that happens when you really get your mind engaged in learning new things. And so the place can feel very strange to you, and the thought of going home can be overwhelming. So I just wanted to say that if you're feeling any of these emotions, that whatever you're feeling, you're justified in it. All right? Don't let anybody tell you, oh, it's going to be fine. No matter how much someone tells you something is going to be fine, if you feel like it's not going to be fine, it is not going to be fine. Okay? Like, you're not going to be okay if it's not okay. So you know what you have to be facing. And so there's a lot of anxiety that comes with that. And you just need to accept that, look, I'm feeling anxious and this is the reason why. All right? So let's put it this way. What are some of the things that you can do to deal with what is your reality? So the first thing I'm going to say to you is, if you have to go home and if it's not going to bring any physical harm to you and not loads of mental strain, meaning that you're not going to be emotionally abused on a daily basis and you have nowhere else to go. There's no aunt, there is no spouse, there is no one else. You have to go home. That you just have to try to think of some strategies that could work to make it a little bit easier for you. So I'm going to give you some tips that I think could be useful when you're in a situation like that. Like you have no other choice, you have nowhere else to be. And listen, these are just bits of advice I have given to others that may have worked for them. I'm not saying that it will work for you, but I do believe that there must be some value in there somewhere. So I'm just going to give you some of the things that I've said to other persons who are facing a similar situation of having to go home to an environment that may not be the best thing for them. So the first thing is that I'm going to encourage you to set boundaries. All right. So you need to be able to tell your family that, hey, I am tired. I've been studying really hard. It's been very stressful. And you might find me sleeping a lot. All right. I may be needing to catch up on my rest because I've been studying nonstop. And so I need to sleep. Yes, there are things you need me to help you with. I'll hurry up and help with that, but I'm going to need a lot of nap time. So finding a space to retreat is very, very helpful. Staying away from conversations that you know are triggering. So if your parents have different points of views or perspectives from yours, it might be helpful not to necessarily engage in conversations. Just find a quick escape route. Just be like, oh, I'm not feeling well, I need to go lie down. Please don't call down any illnesses on yourself, but that's a good way. I have a phone call I need to return. I need to go and look for somebody. It could be somebody in the community that your family is okay with. And you could just always say, hey, I'm going to go look for them or go help them with something, to just avoid conversations that might cause problems and frictions and arguments and lead to you not, making the situation worse. So just try to set boundaries and try to stay away from difficult conversations. The next thing that I would say to you is to have an exit strategy. So yes, you can set your boundaries. You can try to keep yourself busy, find things to do, try to be as nice as possible. But if you find that it's getting too difficult to remain in a place, maybe there's a friend that you can stay with or a place where you can get some space. Like I said, you could retreat in the days to somewhere. Some people think about getting Christmas jobs. It's not too late to try because there is a lot of traffic during Christmas in terms of people going to stores to buy things or wanting to get things done. So if you could pick up some work in the days that keep you occupied so that by the time you get home, it's bedtime. Yes, I find sleep to be a retreat. So I'm always going to be recommending naps and rest. I'm very pro of that. So just see if you have somewhere else that you could possibly go, a grandparent, a friend, or anywhere that you feel like you would be safer. As long as you are okay in that space, it's safe, and you're not kind of jumping out of the frying pan into the fire, then yeah, I suggest that. If all things fail, please ensure that you have somewhere to go. And then the next thing is to remember your why. So, why do you have to go home? Sometimes there is a parent there that relies on you heavily. So even though you feel like you have outgrown the environment or that, you're always getting into arguments with them, this person might really be supportive of you, be helping you out while you're in college, paying your fees and that kind of thing. And so they have an expectation that in the holidays, you're going to come, you're going to help out around the house, you're going to pick up some of the chores that they might have to do. Just know that it's for a short time. and you can manage it. Plus, you may have siblings at home that miss you. And so even though you find the situation to be difficult or unbearable, there might be people there who love you. Even the people you're having challenges with, they may definitely love you. But just remember that you are still trying to be a good daughter, a good son, a good spouse, a good brother, a good sister. You're trying to be a good family member. So as much as you can, just try to zone into that, the positive thing of what you're trying to be as an individual, and just try to keep that as your focus in the time that you're there. The next thing is that while everything might not be perfect at home, and you are going to feel a bit uncomfortable or have discomfort, it's good to still try to stay connected to your friends that you had at college, or your other friends that attended other colleges that are home for the holidays. So lean into that network and try to reach out to people who can support you and who can give you pep talks when you feel low to keep your spirits up. For the other persons now, people who have nowhere to go. Well, I have been in that situation, I must say. I remember it like it was yesterday, my first tearful Christmas. Now, I'm not really big on Christmas, but one thing I discovered is that I do not want to be alone. And I learned that in 2000 and I want to say December 2004. Because that's when I went to graduate school. I was in the States and it was cold. It was really cold. And I remember my roommate, she went to New York, but I think I had to work. I had a job and I would be working New Year's or something. So I just wasn't really into the hassle of going to New York and then having to come back in time to go to work. And it looked really cold outside, and I figured it would be fine. I would just stay inside. I would just make dinner. I would just call home to Jamaica. I would talk to my mother. I would talk to my sisters. I would, talk to my grandmother in the UK, talk to my uncle. So I'd have enough people to talk to throughout the day. I'd have friends that I could talk to throughout the day. So I would be fully occupied. Listen to me. By midday, I was bawling. It was the worst. And like I said, I'm not big on Christmas. And if I'm completely honest, I'm not big on a lot of people around me. I get overstimulated quite easily. But there was just something about it that made me realize that, listen, no matter what, when it's Christmas, you need to find somewhere to be, because you just can't. It's like this built-in thing, this feeling that you need to be surrounded by people. And so I found it really difficult when I could not go home. So that's the other thing. If you can't go home, you have to try to take advantage of spending the time having Christmas with somebody else. Or if you're on a campus overseas, or you're on a campus where there are other international students, meet up and put a Christmas dinner together, because I am telling you, genetically, we are built for a tribe. We really are. And you're going to feel that even more at Christmas. So you need to get together with other people and find something to do. And try to connect to home by calling home. I mean, I did that, but somehow it just did not feel the same. But still, try to call home. We have video call now, which is way better than what I had in 2004. But try to stay connected. Some people, that might make them sadder, but still, reach out and let everybody tell you how much they miss you. And that's always a nice little feeling to have. So reach out, try to stay connected, see if you could go home with someone and spend Christmas with them. Or, just try to create your own little tradition. There's, as much as I do not enjoy Christmas, I do enjoy some of the things from the season. I love fruitcake, and I love sorrel, and I love eggnog. And so those are three things I look forward to every Christmas season. So Definitely the times when I'm not in Jamaica, like even when I travel, like one year I went, well, more than one year, more than one time. I've gone overseas for Christmas and I've literally brought Christmas cake with me because I love it and it's something I look forward to at Christmas, and I'm going to have it anywhere in the world I am at Christmas time because I know that makes me feel better. All right, so if you find that you're on campus and you have nowhere to go during the holiday season, like I said, you need to reach out to your family at home. You need to connect with friends. You need to probably also look into volunteering. Yep, I know a couple of organizations here in Jamaica and other parts of the world. They feed the homeless, or they do clothes drops, or just things. Help out at the hospital, reading stories to children who can't go home. So stuff like that. Volunteering always makes people feel better. I promise you. Like something about service to others that just removes you from whatever is going on with you. So volunteering is also a really good idea. Practice self-care. So, you know me, go for walks. Yes, if you're feeling down and out of sorts and everything that is kind of not working out for you in the Christmas season, I suggest that you use that as a time to exercise. Yes, I said it. And if you are not big on exercise, I'm not. Walking is the most therapeutic one that you could choose. So go for walks. I definitely say that you should do that. So those are my tips for if you're on campus and you're stuck and you can't get to go home or you have nowhere to go. The next thing I want to talk about is just the overall feeling of sadness that some people get during the Christmas season. It is normal and it's natural. Okay, don't let anybody tell you anything. There's something called seasonal affective disorder, and some of us have it. We don't know because we haven't allowed ourselves to be formally diagnosed. But I know that I get really sad in November, December. I think it has a lot to do with how much it rains, how overcast it is. There isn't that much sun, and it affects me. I have to remember to take my vitamin D3. I'm not suggesting what vitamins you should take. Talk to your doctor about that. You're not going to get me on here, but that's something that I find that really helps me out and makes me feel better. I try to exercise more, go for longer walks. I try to go for walks with my walking partner, who I find to be very funny. And I've worked out having one in where I work and one where I live. So if I'm ever feeling the Christmas blues, I have somebody I can go for walks with. That's very important. And it's okay to reach out to your pastor, your school counselor, if they're still available, or anybody else you trust, and say, hey, I feel sad this holiday season. Like I said, you are going through a lot of changes. A lot of things are happening. You've just come out of exams. You don't know what those results are going to be. You have the next semester to think about and all the financial obligations there. And so worse if you can't go home because it's an awful place, or because it's expensive and you can't get there, or two, you have to go home and it is an awful place, but that's the only place you can be right now. There's a lot going on. So it's okay to not be okay. Like it's fine. It's just what you do, because you don't want to spend that break that you have earned being completely sad. So you have to find the things that will put a smile on your face, that will make you happy. Just try to think about what it is that, is your happy place. I know for me, there are particular Christmas movies that I like. The Grinch, naturally. But so many other ones. So try to find your favorite Christmas songs, your favorite Christmas foods, your favorite people to be around, and just try to make yourself okay. All right. I'm sure coming out of the season, you haven't had a chance to wash your hair properly, style it nice, do your nails. Guys, you haven't had a chance to get a good line up, shape up, get your hair done properly. You just haven't had that because you've been in exam mode and crunch time and all of those things. So it's a good time to catch up on rest, to moisturize yourselves a little bit more, to take longer showers, to, just whatever works for you. Try to make sure that you don't leave this holiday season without feeling rejuvenated and refreshed. And don't make anybody make you feel bad for wanting to have an extra nap, because you've genuinely earned it. All right, so we've been going for a while now, but just to wrap this up, I just want to say, if you're going home for the holidays and it feels like a challenge, or if you have nowhere to go, know that you're not alone. There are options, there are people who care, and there are ways to take care of yourself during this time. Whether it's setting boundaries at home or finding new ways to connect with others while staying on campus, your well-being matters. It's the most important thing. The holidays may not look like what you expected, at least not now, right? Because you can always create the life you want. But right now, it may not look like what you expected, but that doesn't mean that it can't be meaningful. You are resilient, and no matter what happens, you can manage this, okay? You are enough. The answers lie in you. So just do what you need to do to not lose your mind and enjoy this break. Okay, so thanks again for listening to another episode of College Sucks. I'm not even sure I said what this episode was about in the intro, because I was all over the place and I missed talking. But please take care of yourself and have yourself a very Merry Christmas. Try not to eat too much, because if you wear a uniform, it needs to fit come January. But, have fun. Have a good time. Thanks again for listening. And please visit my social media pages, College Sucks JA, on both TikTok and Instagram. And as you know, you will soon be able to hear this on Apple and Podcasts and Spotify. But for now, we're on YouTube. So thank you so much for listening. Happy holidays. Bye.